Well, there it is. The smoke turned to fire. The whispers turned to war cries. And now, the Cleveland Browns have made what may go down as one of the most baffling, bitter, and brutally short-sighted quarterback decisions in franchise history. Shedeur Sanders is being traded to the New Orleans Saints. Let that sink in. After dominating training camp, after outperforming every quarterback on the depth chart, after commanding the second-team offense like a seasoned vet and carving up the Browns' starting defense like a cheat code in cleats, Shedeur is gone. Not because he wasn't good enough, not because he didn't earn it, but because the Browns couldn't get out of their own way. And just like that, Cleveland may have lost not just a QB, but the locker room, the fan base, and whatever credibility they had left when it comes to developing talent. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Let's break it down. Shedeur Sanders was supposed to be a project. That's how the front office sold it. A fifth-round pick with media buzz, some college flash, and maybe a future backup role behind more NFL-ready options. But from the moment camp opened, that narrative unraveled. Sanders didn't just show promise. He showed presence. He executed with poise, made pre-snap adjustments like a vet, and straight up outclassed his competition, namely Gabriel and Joe Flacco, on every level that mattered. Even against Cleveland's first-string defense, Shedeur was a guy moving the chains, calling protections and getting it done. So what did the Browns do? They benched him. They buried him in the rotation. They traded him. Why? Let's call it what it is. Systemic dysfunction. Head coach Kevin Stefanski reportedly clashed with Shedeur almost immediately. Not because of performance, but because Shedeur didn't fit his system. Translation: Stefanski wanted a plug-and-play guy who'd follow the playbook to the letter. Someone he could mold. Someone predictable. Shedeur? He had his own rhythm, his own reads, his own leadership style. That wasn't just threatening. It was inconvenient. So instead of adjusting the scheme to fit the talent, the Browns decided to exile the talent in favor of a scheme that, let's be honest, hasn't even proven itself effective in years. Now the locker room is a mess. Veterans like Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, and David Njoku had reportedly started requesting more reps with Shedeur during practice. Myles Garrett was quietly vocal about Sanders' command. Even some of the offensive linemen were advocating for more time with the rookie who, as one source allegedly put it, actually gives us a shot. But the front office? Radio silence. And Stefanski? He stuck to the same tired line in pressers. We're rotating guys. It's early. Everyone's out to earn it. Earn it? What more could Shedeur have possibly done? He dominated camp. He led successful drives with the second-team unit against the top-tier defense. He built chemistry. He showed leadership. He did it all. Meanwhile, Gabriel, who, let's not forget, was drafted 2 rounds ahead of Sanders, looked tentative, shaky, and clearly overwhelmed. But instead of acknowledging the truth, Stefanski doubled down. He leaned into system fit and timeline excuses, citing reps, ignoring results. And now that Shedeur is on his way to New Orleans, the real story is unraveling fast. According to sources inside the building, trade talks with the Saints have been going on for weeks. Yes, weeks. Long before this became a public circus, long before the camp reps became noticeably skewed, the Browns were already entertaining the idea of moving Shedeur. Why? Because they never intended to let him grow in Cleveland. They saw the buzz. They saw the headlines. They saw the momentum building, and instead of embracing it, they panicked. They saw a franchise quarterback being chosen organically, by the team, by the fans, by the performance, and realized he wasn't the quarterback they picked. And in Cleveland, that kind of power shift is a problem. This team has a long, painful history of mismanaging quarterbacks, drafting them, mishandling them, shipping them out, and then wondering why the rebuild button keeps getting smashed every 2 years. And now they've done it again. Only this time, it feels worse. Because this time they had the guy, and they just let him walk. Let's talk about the Saints for a second. Because they knew exactly what they were doing. They saw the internal chaos in Cleveland. They heard the buzz. They watched the camp footage, the interviews, the leadership, and they moved fast. New Orleans is sending over a second-round pick with performance-based escalators that could make it a first-rounder if Shedeur hits certain milestones. And let's be real, with how he's trending, that escalator might as well be automatic. Because unlike the Browns, the Saints actually want him. They're not asking him to wait. They're not telling him to be patient, while a guy with lesser talent gets all the snaps. They're bringing him in with a plan. You know how rare that is for a rookie QB? And that's the sting for Browns fans. Not just that Shedeur's leaving, but that he's walking into a better situation. A place where he'll be developed, supported, positioned to succeed. A place where being the most talented guy in the room actually matters. Back in Cleveland, fans are livid, outraged, embarrassed. The stadium signs it. The Reddit threads are already in flames. YouTube clips breaking down Shedeur's best camp moments are now titled, "What Could Have Been Instead of the Future." The narrative has flipped overnight, from quarterback competition to organizational implosion. And it doesn't stop with Shedeur, because this trade, this choice, it sends a message to the entire roster. Play well, and we might still push you out if you don't fit the script. That's not how you build a team. That's how you lose one. Let's not forget the fans. Browns Nation has been starved for something real, something new, something that feels like the beginning of an era, not another exhaustive rerun of trust the process and we like our room. Shedeur felt like that beginning. He brought swagger without ego, confidence without cockiness, a sense of hope that wasn't just built on highlight plays, but substance. And now, that hope is headed south in a Saints jersey. So what's next for Cleveland? Well, good luck selling Dillon Gabriel as the answer now. His every rep will be measured against the ghost of the guy you traded away. Every misread, a told you so. Every interception, a meme. Every press conference, a PR nightmare waiting to happen. And if Gabriel fails, you're back at square one. Only this time, you don't even have Shedeur waiting in the wings. You gave that up for a system fit, for comfort, for control. And that, right there, is the real loss. So what's the moral here? If you're an NFL team with real talent on your roster, don't smother it. Don't cling to coaching philosophies that were designed for a different era. Don't waste years protecting your ego at the cost of your future. Because every once in a while, a player walks through your doors and starts forcing the issue with performance, with presence, with proof. And when that happens, you either make room or make headlines. Cleveland, you chose the latter. And Shedeur Sanders, he's not just moving teams. He's about to make you regret it. And now, the Cleveland Browns find themselves staring at a future they chose. A future without Shedeur Sanders. Let's get real. This wasn't just a trade. It was a capitulation. A white flag. A signal to every fan, player, and analyst watching. We're not ready for that kind of greatness. Not yet. Because Shedeur wasn't difficult. He wasn't a diva. He wasn't disruptive. He was just better, and the Browns couldn't handle it. Let's dig into what happens next, because this saga is only getting started. Inside the locker room fallout. First off, the locker room is fractured. You've got the vets who had quietly started viewing Shedeur as the guy, not because of hype, but because they felt the difference when he was in the huddle. The energy changed. The offense moved with urgency. Receivers ran harder. Linemen dug deeper. You can't fake that. And now, those same vets are looking at the coaching staff like, seriously? You expect them to rally behind Dillon Gabriel. After weeks of watching him struggle against the same defense Shedeur lit up? You want guys who saw the better quarterback with their own eyes to pretend this makes sense? That's not just a hard sell. That's a total breakdown in trust. The younger players? They're quiet. What else can they be? They don't have the clout to question Stefanski and Barry. But believe this, they're watching. They're learning. And what they're learning is ugly. Lesson number 1, it's not about performance. Lesson number 2, it's about narrative control. Lesson number 3, if you shine too bright, they might snuff you out to protect the plan. That's the real culture being built right now in Cleveland. The Gabriel dilemma. And now the pressure lands squarely on Dylan Gabriel's shoulders. He didn't ask for this. He didn't campaign for Shedeur to be moved. But he benefits from it, and everyone knows it. That creates an awkward dynamic, because no matter what Gabriel does now, he's playing from behind. Not behind on the depth chart, but behind in the hearts and minds of the people who actually matter, the players and the fans. Every incomplete pass will be compared to Shedeur's highlight tape. Every forced throw will be a trigger. Every post-game presser will echo with unspoken questions. Would Shedeur have won this game? Would the offense look better with him under center? And Gabriel? He has to carry all of that. Every rep, every snap. Every missed opportunity will drag the ghost of Shedeur back into the building like a storm cloud. He's not just playing for his job now. He's playing against a what-if that the Browns created themselves. The front office spin cycle. Let's talk about the PR disaster unfolding in real time. The Browns are spinning this like they did right by the player, claiming they moved Shedeur for his benefit, gave him a better shot in New Orleans, blah, blah, blah. Stop it. You don't trade a player you believe in because it's the kind thing to do. You trade them because you don't have the guts to let them disrupt your pre-written script. Let's be honest here. If Shedeur had stayed, he was going to win the job. And the Browns? They weren't ready to admit they drafted their future in round 5 while handing higher picks and their hopes to players who couldn't deliver. So instead, they pulled the ripcord. They convinced themselves it was better to protect the room than to embrace the truth. And now, they're trying to sell the fan base a plan that everyone knows is falling apart over in New Orleans. Meanwhile, Saints fans are waking up to the kind of excitement they haven't felt in a long time because they just landed a potential franchise quarterback in the middle of training camp for the price of a pick and a front office's insecurity. And they're not wasting time. Word is Shedeur will be eased into the offense over the next couple of weeks. But make no mistake, the Saints didn't trade for a backup. They traded for their future. They saw what Cleveland refused to see, a calm, cerebral, high IQ quarterback with real command and even more upside. The kind of player you build around, not bury. Shedeur now enters a market ready to love him, a fan base ready to support him, and a coaching staff that sees him not as a flashy fifth-rounder, but as a weapon. He's walking into structure, not suppression. And for the first time in weeks, he can breathe. Cleveland's reputation in freefall. Let's talk about the Browns as an organization. This move didn't just cost them a quarterback. It damaged their reputation league-wide. Players talk. Agents talk. Coaches talk. Everyone in the league is now watching and asking, why would a team dump their best-performing rookie QB? The answer isn't strategic. It's political. It's about control, narrative, image, and that kind of dysfunction that spreads. It makes free agents second-guess signing here. It makes rookies wonder if they'll ever get a fair shot. It makes veterans consider their trade value just in case the system turns on them too. This isn't just about Shedeur. This is about a franchise that still hasn't learned how to get out of its own way. The fans deserve better. Above all else, this feels like a gut punch to Browns fans who are finally starting to believe in something again. After years of quarterback purgatory, Mayfield, Brissett, Watson, Keenum, pick a name, Shedeur represented hope. Not media hype, not clickbait potential, just actual football hope. And instead of rallying behind that, the front office torched it, all because they were scared of admitting they were wrong about who their best QB really was. Fans don't forget moves like this. They don't forgive them easily either, because this wasn't a salary cap issue. This wasn't a locker room problem. This was a maturity thing. This was ego, plain and simple. And now, unless Gabriel turns into next Drew Brees overnight, this trade will haunt the Browns for years. The legacy of what was lost. So let's fast forward 2, maybe 3 years. If Shedeur Sanders is lighting it up in New Orleans, running a Sean Payton-style West Coast offense, winning games, maybe even sniffing playoffs, what does Cleveland say then? What does Kevin Stefanski say? What does GM Andrew Berry say? How do you explain trading away your best quarterback for the sake of structure when that same structure continues to crumble year after year? You don't. You just pray people forget. But spoiler alert, they won't. So here's where we land. The Browns didn't just lose a player. They lost trust. They lost momentum. They lost a chance to finally be on the right side of quarterback history. And Shedeur Sanders, he's taking all that energy, all that poise, all that talent, and bringing it to New Orleans. The Browns may have thought they traded a rookie backup, but what they really did was trade away the best shot they've had in a decade. And all of us will be watching to see just how bad they regret it. No, this wasn't just a roster move. This was an organizational betrayal, a mutiny against logic, a decision so baffling that it's still hard to tell whether it was driven by pure ego, panic, or the Browns' old, cursed instincts taking the wheel again. So now what? Let's zoom all the way in on what this means. Not just for Browns, not just for Shedeur, but for the future player development in the NFL. Welcome to the NFL's new reality. The NFL is changing. This is in 2006, where rookies had to sit behind some washed-up veteran for 3 years just to earn a headset. This isn't a league that needs system guys anymore. This is a talent-driven, results-based battlefield where the guy who wins in camp is supposed to play. Shedeur didn't just win in camp. He owned it. He checked every box. Mental toughness? Check. On-field command? Check. Locker room respect? Check. The stats? The tape? The momentum? Triple check. But instead of rewarding him, Cleveland stuck to its Puritan depth chart like it was gospel. This isn't just a football problem. This is a cultural blind spot. The Browns still think they can control the narrative. Still think if they just say, Gabriel's our guy enough times, fans will believe it. They think that because Shedeur was a fifth-round pick, he's not allowed to win the job, even if he's clearly the best quarterback on the roster. This is a toxic residue of old-school football thinking. The belief that draft position equals destiny, that the guy who plays safe and checks down is more trustworthy than the guy who commands a field and leads. But guess what? Fans see through it. Players feel it. And other teams are already capitalizing on it. New Orleans didn't waste time. They saw the opportunity. They made the call. And they got the guy. Now Shedeur walks into a franchise hungry for leadership and willing to embrace it, no matter what round it was drafted in. And Cleveland? They walk into the season with their most dynamic quarterback already gone and a fan base teetering between despair and fury. A front office that's too smart for its own good. Let's get into the minds of GM Andrew Berry and Coach Kevin Stefanski, because you don't stumble into a disaster like this without a bit of overthinking. The Browns front office has always liked being the smart guys in the room, the ones who zag when everyone zigs, who find value where others see noise. It's worked sometimes. They've made some smart trades, drafted some solid linemen, built a defense that can punch with the best. But when it comes to quarterbacks, they overthink themselves into failure. And in Shedeur's case, they saw a player who broke their system. He wasn't supposed to be ready. He wasn't supposed to challenge for QB1 in his first camp. He wasn't supposed to turn the second-team reps into a highlight reel. But he did. And instead of adjusting their plan to accommodate a gift falling into their lap, they got defensive. They got scared. They refused to pivot. So they doubled down on Gabriel, not because he earned it, but because he was part of the plan. And now they've shipped off the one guy who gave this team an identity. Why? Because he was too good too early. Saints, the ultimate winners. Let's not sugarcoat this. New Orleans fleeced the Browns. They just acquired a franchise-caliber quarterback without giving up a single player. They didn't empty the draft war chest. They didn't mortgage the future. They traded a second-round pick with escalators, sure, but still. And in return, they got hope, leadership, and a potential star. And they know exactly what they're doing. You don't trade for Shedeur Sanders unless you have a plan to build around him. And from what's already leaked out of Saints camp, the coaches are already tailoring plays to his strengths, working with him personally, getting him ready, not shelving him until further notice. It's the exact kind of QB development Shedeur was never going to get in Cleveland, because in New Orleans, they understand something simple. If a guy is ready, let him play. He doesn't need to win some ceremonial camp battle where one side has a 2-month head start and the coach's personal investment. He doesn't need to sit behind a 34-year-old safety option and learn how to throw it short of the sticks on 3rd and 8. He needs reps, trust, and a team that believes what they're seeing, not what they planned for back in April. In New Orleans, Shedeur gets all of that. In Cleveland, he got traded, the fan base boiling point. If you want a sense of how Browns fans feel, look no further than the stadium gates. Jerseys are flipped inside out. The talk radio circuit is melting down. Reddit threads are 200 comments deep with fire emojis and mock trades. This isn't just frustration. This is betrayal. For a franchise that has spent 2 decades begging for a real quarterback, the Browns had one fall into their lap and still chose to stick to the script. It's no wonder fans are done with the excuses, done with the trust the process nonsense, done with coaches who say it's about long-term success while short-circuiting the team's actual momentum in the present. The moment Shedeur was traded, Cleveland fans lost something real: faith, not just in the front office, but in the idea that doing things the right way would ever matter. Because Shedeur did everything right. He didn't complain. He didn't stir up media chaos. He didn't even demand the job. He just earned it and got punished for it. That's the kind of moment fans don't forget. Shedeur's next chapter, redemption incoming. Here's the best part of all this. For Shedeur, he doesn't have to say anything. No revenge tour. No backhanded quotes. No cryptic tweets. All he has to do is ball out. And let's be clear, he will, because Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing with talent. He's playing with purpose now. He's got a chip on his shoulder that no defender can sack. A fire lit not by hype, but by rejection. He's walking into New Orleans with every reason to show the league what Cleveland tried to ignore. And that's when quarterbacks become legends. Years from now, when someone asks, what happened to the 2025 Browns? It won't be about injuries or cap space or bad luck. It'll be this decision, this moment, this trade, this refusal to believe what was right in front of them. And Shedeur Sanders? He'll be somewhere else. Starting, winning, leading. And Cleveland? They'll still be looking, still chasing, still wondering what could have been.